Well, what do we have here? Lord Hammond passing judgment on the state of politics today. Looking at the current administration and telling them, they're going to have to tell some hard home truths. Really? Is that how politics works now? In the 21st century, truth isn't important anymore. Nobody's under any illusion that there isn't a huge financial black hole in terms of government spending, a debt and deficit that really probably is never going to be addressed now. We're going to be looking at debt in perpetuity as a nation. And Philip Hammond thinks it's time for the government to come forward and give us some home truths about the state of public finance. But why? How? For what purpose? At this point, if you can decide your own personal truth, then what does the objective state of the public purse matter? I mean, no reasonable party that wants to be elected is ever going to agree with your analysis and come out with statements about how they're going to curb spending and pay back the debt, limit services, increase taxes. I mean, it's a popularity contest. Don't you have Instagram, Lord Hammond? Don't you understand how it works now? It's not a case of we're post objectivity, okay? In society we operate today, that the objective truth has no value. If you can decide basically anything about yourself or anything else and call it a fact, then insulated in your house under lockdown, alienated from the reality of the world, and comforted by your technological advancement and your comfortable delusions, you'll never have to come face to face with the reality. And if the rubber never meets the road, why pursue this policy of indoctrinating people with unpleasant messages like, there's a debt to pay back? No, there isn't. If I don't want there to be, there isn't one. I'm never going to pay it back. No administration that's attempting to get re-elected is ever going to pay it back. No government in opposition trying to get elected is ever going to pose that they want to pay it back either. This debt is never going to be paid back. And I think it's an example I can't believe it's an example of your monumental naivety. You can't be that naive. You weren't in government that long ago that you are now allowed to be this naive. And so I have to conclude you're just posturing because you want to apply some kind of pressure on the government and condescend to them and their supporters as somehow being fanciful and imaginary, that they are beguiling themselves from the true state of play. You don't know what the state of play is, Philip Hammond. You have no idea. And if I can construct any reality I want and have people in authority and institutions support me in those conclusions because they fear being cancelled and blacklisted for not appearing sympathetic enough, or for having or being accused of some perceived prejudice, then you're speaking of home truths that are going to have to be related to me at a later date is an aggression. It is an aggression against my better judgment and my wishful thinking for the future of my country. And therefore, I cannot see them as being any truths whatsoever. And if you truly believe that anybody trying to get elected or stay elected is going to address this immense problem, which will take decades to recover from if pursued, then you've got another thing coming. It would simply be too costly to popularity to maintain that affront. And therefore it won't be. And again, I don't understand why you've said that. Knowing what the situation is, knowing how politics works, knowing the year in which we live, why would you come out and claim that any truths that aren't the most comforting, personal, unique truths will have to be related to the public at some point, at the popularity cost of those displaying that message. There's simply no win. If I can continue a pretense about my life, just as anyone else can, to maintain that it's somehow idyllic and envy-worthy and perfection itself, then why should my political leanings not also encapsulate exactly those virtues? Philip Hammond, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Thanks very much, guys. See you around.